Welcome to a gentle chair yoga practice, and I'm so glad to practice with you today. So we'll go ahead and just get started building our alignment. So bringing our feet nice and hip distance to each other, and the outer edges of the feet. If you want to be really specific to the outer edges of your hips, drawing a line down the outer edges of your hips to meet the outer edges of your feet. And then there, just making them nice and parallel to each other. From there, go in and out with the soles of the feet. Just feel all four corners of the foot starting to root in as evenly as you possibly can over the arches. And once that starts to feel pretty even, lift up the toes and then set the toes down. Press the big toe into the floor so you can feel a nice engagement in the arches. And then face the palms forward. Lift the sternum bone just a little bit to get some more lift between the vertebrae. Hug the ribs in to feel that nice front body support. And maybe tuck the chin back slightly so we can get the skull a little bit more in line with the spine and lift through the top of the head. And we have our nice realignment of the spine here. So you can start to close the eyes. Just notice the breath. Notice how it feels in this lifted posture. And if there are any areas that you over-tensed, maybe on your exhales you can soften just a little bit. Sometimes I like to soften the tops of the shoulders. Soften the kneecaps down so I'm not locking out the knees. And then from there, just starting to take some deeper breaths than normal. So in through the nose or the mouth and fill up nice and full. Just letting the belly, the whole torso expand. And then on your exhales, drawing the belly in towards the back and engaging the abdomen muscles to press all the air that you possibly can out. And then just doing that at your own pace so that hopefully the next inhale, you can breathe in a little bit more fresh oxygen. And as you take these deep inhales and exhales, just remember, we only use about 30% of the lung space in our normal breathing. And so when you're taking this time to breathe deeper than normal, you're giving your body some major benefits. So just taking that time, and we'll be doing lots of deep breaths through the practice, and just taking that time. Good, so one more deep breath here. And then exhale and relax the shoulders, relax the arms down, and then we'll begin to roll the shoulders. So just rolling them back, doing some small circles, and then get some bigger circles, lifting the elbows, and then the whole arm up and over, just wherever feels good for those shoulder joints. And then you can switch directions, go the other way. Small circles forward. And then the elbows. And then the whole arm. Still taking those nice deep breaths. Good. And then relax the hands down to the sides. Nice deep breath here. And then on your exhale, just let the weight of the body gently fall until you feel a nice little side stretch. If you want to add on, you could lift the arm, maybe all the way, maybe even take your chin towards the ceiling. Whatever feels good for your neck and your back. And then slowly come back to center. Nice deep breath in here. And then on your exhale, same thing. Just letting that weight of the body gently fall. Maybe lifting this arm, or maybe all the way, maybe chin towards the ceiling. Whatever's good for your neck and your back. And then slowly come back to center in some gentle twists. So just letting the arms flap around, warming up the spine here. And then relax the hands down to the sides, and we'll get into the neck. So inhale and look up wherever's comfortable. And then exhale, chin to the chest, relax the shoulders. As you're gazing down, maybe check in with your feet. A lot of times our feet have moved back into their normal patterns, so maybe bring them back to parallel again. And then do that again. Inhale, look up. And then exhale, chin to the chest, relax the shoulders a little bit more. And then coming back to center, we'll gently roll the neck so you can tilt the head to the side. And then if you want, you can start to inhale back wherever's comfortable. And exhale as you round that full circle. And then we'll return to center, tilt the other way. Same thing, begin to inhale back. And exhale as you round that full circle. And then coming back to center and squeeze the shoulders up towards the ears. Nice deep breath here. And sigh them down. Good. And then we'll come up onto the balls of the feet, back and forth to the heels. If you need to hold onto your chair, feel free to do that. working some balance, warming up the feet. And then we'll intentionally take the heels together, toes as evenly faced out as you can, come up and down that way. And then we'll switch and take the big toes towards each other, heels faced out, and come up and down that way. And then finally finish off back to that nice parallel stance with a couple more there. And then coming all the way down, spread the toes wide, gripping into the floor. Inhale the hands up into prayer hands, maybe looking up at the thumbs. And then exhale, prayer hands down over the heart. And just closing the eyes and feeling that nice breath and the heart rate. The two things that are constantly going for us that sometimes we forget are even there. And just bringing that awareness to being thankful for what your body can do for today. Good, and then reach up and tighten your thighs and your glutes, and then gently fold back. And coming all the way up, arms are going to come down to the thighs. We're going to come into our first forward fold. So you can bend the knees, let the hands just gently slide down. And once it feels comfortable, maybe you go ahead and release the arms, release the head and the neck, and just let that whole back release with the gravity. As you take those nice long exhales, you might lead in towards the toes or back towards the heels, or maybe slightly lift the tailbone, and just find those areas in the middle of the calves and the hamstrings to release on those long exhales. Then you can bend the right knee a little deeper. Take a nice long exhale down that left leg. And then switch and bend the left knee a little deeper. Take a nice long exhale down that right leg. Good, and then we're going to come into bent knees so that we can use the strength of the legs and come into 3 halfway lifts. So as you straighten the legs, the hands can come to the thighs, and just inhale, try to lengthen out, tailbone to the top of the head. And then exhale, forward fold, and release. And then we're going to do that 2 more times. And I'm just going to show you the shape of my back as I turn to the side here. So inhale, halfway lift. And you're just trying to get that nice L shape, really keeping that nice lift and length, tailbone to the top of the head. And then on your exhale, release, forward fold. And then last one, inhale, halfway lift. Lengthening from that tailbone to the top of the head. And exhale and release. Bend the knees, chin in the chest, and we're going to roll it up for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Head comes up last. Inhale the hands up to prayer hands, maybe looking up at those thumbs again. And then exhale, prayer hands down over the hearts. And then we're going to go ahead and come to the chair. So as we come to the chair, we're going to take some nice side opening bends here. So when you have your chair, I'm going to have my chair angled this way just because camera reasons, but you can have it closer to you. And what you'll do, the foot that's closest to your chair, you're going to plant your weight onto that, cross the other foot that's furthest away in front, and press in nice and firmly. Now, if you notice that it's hard to balance, you might have that foot just here, or all the way over. Find the place where it's easy for you to press into that foot, and then as you press in, reach that outer arm up. And then just breathe into that side. Take a nice breath here. Maybe start to tilt with it to open up a little bit more. And just continue to press into that front foot and reach out through those fingers as you breathe. Good, and then inhale that arm up. Exhale down, uncross that foot. And then same thing, you can walk around to the other side of your chair if you want, so that you can take that outside foot, cross it wherever you can find that balance, in front or all the way around. And then once you're there, plant that foot firmly and reach up. And we're going to take that side opening the other way, just breathing deep as you push into that foot and reach out through those fingers. Maybe taking a little bit more of a tilt. And again, you would have your chair. And just because of my video situation, I'm not going to move the chair all over the place. So using that if you need it. Nice deep breath. Inhale that arm up. Exhale down, and then uncross that leg. And then we'll come towards the seat of our chair. And we're going to take a couple of cross-legged forward folds here to get into the hips and the legs a little differently. So you can cross that right foot in front, begin to bend the knees and lower down, and just find that placement that works for you here at the chair. So the knees might be bent, the arms might be straight, or you might be able to straighten out the legs, maybe eventually bend the elbows and lower down. Some of you might be able to go all the way to where you rest your head on the arms. And really, it doesn't matter to find the place where you can just really have some nice long releases in that lower half of the body. So the chair is nice. It's kind of supporting this upper half of the body so that you can really release all the way down the low back and into the hips, the legs, and the feet. Good. One more breath here. And then on your exhale, squeeze the legs together, and you can turn this into a balance. And if you notice that this is too difficult, you can uncross those feet and just rise on up and inhale the hands up to prayer hands and exhale them down over the heart. And then we're going to do that same thing on the other side. So crossing your left foot wherever you can cross it. And then same thing, you're just going to start to lower, bending those knees. Hands can slide down the legs maybe to the chair. Finding that placement. Legs remaining bent or straightening or bending the arms and lowering down. Just finding that place that really feels like you can release the low back. Release down the legs. With every long exhale out. Good. One more breath here. And then on your exhale, squeeze the legs together. You can slowly come on up. If you need to uncross the legs at any point, feel free to do that. And maybe inhale the hands up, prayer hands, and exhale, prayer hands down over the heart. And then we'll begin to come into our first lunge. So as you build this first lunge, step back with your right foot. Doesn't matter how far you step back. When you bend the front left knee, just make sure it's directly over the heel. And then once you're in that position, you've got lots of options with that back foot. You could be high onto the ball of the foot where that heel stacks over, or you could press the heel back, or you could even have the foot flat if you need to have a more supported lunge. So as you come into that stance, push into the front heel, reach the back leg back, and then just begin to feel all the leg muscles engaging with that reaching back and pushing in. And then start to engage through the core. If at any time you need to hold on to the chair, even if you want to have the back of the chair towards you, do any of those variations and just hold here in your balance. As you get stronger, maybe you can reach the arms back and draw the belly in and reach through the top of the head and feel all of that engagement through the spine and the core. And then we will lower the hands to the chair. So just bringing that stance where your shoulders are over the wrists. And just take some time to press into the palms, feel the arms engaged, draw the shoulder blades down behind the heart, reach through the top of the head, and just feel some nice engagement all through that upper body as well as the legs continuing to be nice and supportive. And then keeping that good core and leg support, we're going to plant that left hand into the center of the chair and then just reach up and find a gentle twist here. So it doesn't matter how far you reach, just keep the legs stationary. Breathe nice and deep into that twist. Your gaze can be wherever is good for your neck. And then exhale, we're going to slowly lower that hand, plant it into the center of the chair, same thing, and we're going to twist the other way. Legs are strong and stationary as you just reach and open up wherever you need that twist. Staying lifted out of the shoulder socket, so a lot of core support here, not dumping into that arm. One more breath here. And then slowly lower that hand down, and we're going to plant both hands underneath the shoulders and step it back to a plank. So in plank, you can be straight for more intensity, or you can point a little bit to ease out. So take whichever variation works for you and just engage all the muscles that you can around the bones. The legs, the glutes, the shoulder blades pressing up, feeling strong shoulder girdle. Top of the head reaching to feel that length through all the spine muscles. Good. One more breath here. And then on your exhale, step the feet back underneath the hips. And we're going to take a cat and cow here. So just directing your shoulders over the wrists. Begin to round the spine up, chin in the chest. Maybe exhaling all the air out to draw the belly in and lift the spine a little bit higher. And then when you come into cow, just keep that belly slightly engaging as you arch it the other way so you have that good core support. Your gaze can be wherever's comfortable as you look out ahead or up. And then we'll do that one more time. Exhaling the air out, rounding up through that cat back. And then keeping that nice engagement as you inhale and arch the other way for cow. Good. And then we'll come back to a neutral spine, bending the knees, checking in to make sure everything's nice and parallel with the feet. And then slowly roll it on up. Inhale the hands up to prayer hands. And exhale, prayer hands down over the heart. And then we're going to take our lunge on the other side. So stepping back with the left foot. And as you step back, again, find that placement where your knee in the front is bent, tracking over that heel. You have all the options in that back foot that are comfortable for you. Once you're there, push into the front heel, reach the back leg back. Your hands can always be supporting you if you need that on the back or the chair, seat of the chair. If you become stronger and you want to reach the arms back, push into that front heel, reach the back leg back, reach through the top of the head and the fingers. Breathing, feeling all that good leg and core support. And then we'll release the hands and plant them under the shoulders. Pressing into the palms, feeling the arms engage. Draw the shoulder blades down behind the heart, reach through the top of the head, just feeling all those muscles through the back and the core. And then we'll take our twist, and we want the legs to stay nice and strong. So you're going to take that right hand into the center of the chair, but keep everything stationary through that lower half of the body as you reach and twist, and then breathe nice and deep into that twist. And slowly lower that hand down underneath that shoulder. Same thing. Legs are strong, feet are strong into the floor, and you're just going to take that twist wherever works. Breathing deep, gazing wherever's good for your neck, staying lifted out of that shoulder socket. Good, and then slowly lower that hand down, both hands underneath the shoulders, and we're going to step it back to one more plank. Again, pointed for a little more ease or straight for a little more intensity. Hug the ribs in, hug the belly in, all that good core support, leg muscles, glute muscles engaging, arm muscles. One more breath here. And then slowly step feet back in underneath the hips. We're coming back into that tabletop position. We're going to work a spinal balance. So making sure those shoulders are over the wrist. You can lift the right arm or the left, whichever one you want to do. And then the opposite leg back. So if you have the left arm up, you'll reach that right leg back. And as you reach back, just notice what your back is going to want to do. A lot of times as we reach the leg back, our back wants to sink in. So try to keep that core nice and engaging, that belly hugging in. And then when you lift that leg, try not to let that back arch and keep all that good support through the core as you reach out through the fingers, through that flexed foot, through the heel. Take one more breath here. And then release and slowly lower all of that down. Same thing on the other side. So opposite arm. We did the left first, we'll do the right arm. Opposite leg, left leg. And again, pay attention to what that back wants to do. Try to keep all that good core support so that the back doesn't cave in and arch, but it rather is nice and supported and straight. And then begin to just focus on all of that nice reaching out in both directions. Fingers, flexing that foot, reaching out through the heel, even the top of the head. Good, one more breath here. And then exhale, slowly lower all of that back down, making sure your feet are nice and parallel. Again, working those patterns in the feet so that we aren't just doing our typical patterning. And then we'll lower down for a nice forward fold at the chair. So you could either stay here, arms straight. You could lower down onto the forearms, maybe head comes onto the arms. And just take that time to connect again with those deep inhales and exhales, releasing all the way down the back. All the way down the hips and the legs. Good, one more breath here. And then slowly bend the knees and roll it all the way back up into mountain. Inhale the hands up to prayer hands. Exhale the prayer hands down over the heart. And then we're going to take it into warrior ones. So this was where we'll step back with the left foot at a slight angle and then square the hips forward, and there's going to be this bend in the front knee where it's tracking over the heel again and in line with the toes. So that little 45-ish degree angle causes our hips to be out just a little, and you're just going to try to square them forward in line as best as you can. You'll feel that hip girdle engagement, and then reach the arms up, and then you can just breathe into this nice gentle back bend that's happening in this posture, and just letting all those deep breaths do the work. Good, one more deep breath here. On the exhale, lower the hands down to the hips, straighten the front leg, and we're going to move right into pyramid. So as you move into pyramid, you're going to lead with that straight back. And it doesn't matter how far you go. Hands are going to be on the hips, maybe to the thigh. Maybe they'll come to the chair, maybe bending the elbows. And once you feel that stretch in the back of the leg, that's your stopping point. And just stop and breathe there. And as long as you're keeping all of that nice length through the back and the spine, and keeping the legs straight, you're getting all the benefits. It doesn't matter how far down. Just let that breath ease into it. Good, and then slowly come up. We're going to add some twist to this. So you're going to plant the left hand under the left shoulder And then just reach and open up to wherever is comfortable. Breathe, keep the legs, keep the core, that arm nice and supporting out of that shoulder socket. And then slowly lower that hand underneath that shoulder. Same thing. We're just going to keep the legs strong and gently open up to that twist. One more deep breath here. And then slowly lower that hand down. And bend the front knee. Step both feet back into your mountain stance parallel. And then use the strength of the legs to come on up. Inhaling prayer hands. Exhaling prayer hands down over the heart. And then we'll step back with the left foot coming into our warrior one on the other side. So a slight 45-degree angle, and then as you square those hips forward, the front knee is going to bend just over that heel. So this nice gentle warrior one stance, feeling that hip engagement as you square them forward, and then reaching the arms up and finding that nice breath into that little back bend that's happening. So all the way to the tops of the lungs and the bottom of the lungs, just filling up full, feeling that expand all the way up and down the spine. Good, one more breath here. And then exhale, hands down to the hips, straighten the front leg. We're going to come into that pyramid again. So leading with that straight back, hinging at the hips. Hands might remain on the hips, maybe the thigh, maybe to the chair. And you're just really taking that attention to where you begin to feel that stretch. And then that's your stopping point. And then you just let the breath ease into it from here. So the longer we stay letting that gentle stretch happen, the more the body will have those good signals. If we push it, it's going to cause the body to tighten and protect. And so if we can keep that gentle stretch, those signals from the brain to the tissues will help build those collagen cells to make them more elastic in time. And then slowly press up out of that. We're going to add those twists. So taking that right hand underneath the right shoulder, feet are strong into the floor. And then just reaching up, staying lifted out of that shoulder socket. Gaze can be wherever's good for your neck. Another deep breath here. And then slowly lower that hand down underneath that shoulder. Same thing. Feet are strong into the floor. Legs are strong as you reach and gently twist. And just staying nice and lifted, supporting with that core so you're not dumping that arm bone into the socket. And then slowly lower that hand down and we'll bend that front knee. Step both feet back in to hip distance and parallel to each other, and then roll it all the way back up. Inhaling, hands up. This time interlace the fingers, palms towards the ceiling, and just reaching up here, feeling all that nice stretch through the arms and the shoulders. And then trying to keep the hips right where they're at. We're just going to take it to the side and just open up through that lung. Your gaze can be wherever's comfortable for your neck. And then back to center and reach. We'll do that again on the other side, trying to keep the hips right where they're at, opening up through that lung. And then back to center. Turn the palms face them down and reach up. We'll do that same thing. Again, maybe switching your gaze if it was up or down, maybe switching it. And then back to center and reach. Last time here. Continue to breathe into that lung. Good. And back to center. And then unclasp the hands, clasp them behind the back. Keep your teeth together and look up. Press down and out through the arms. And then we'll take the chin in the chest and lift the arms a little higher, squeezing the shoulder blades together, feeling all that nice opening through the shoulders, compressing the thyroid area here. And then release, and we'll shake out the arms. So we're going to come into a wide stance. So when you come into a wide stance, it doesn't matter how wide, just wherever's comfortable. Toes are going to be forward. And then think about pressing into the outer edges of the feet. Notice how that travels up through the legs a little bit differently. It's wonderful when we can think about how we press into the feet because we have patterns that we're typically landing on. So when we take that time to press in differently, super good for all the muscles that travel up to the ankles, knees, hips. And then once you're there in that wide-legged stance, we're going to slowly start to come forward to the chair again and just let that forward fold here with the wide stance start to release wherever it feels good. So you might stay here with the arms straight. You might lower to the forearms. You might have the head on the arm. You might even eventually straighten the arms out and really feel a nice opening through those shoulders, kind of a down dog arm stance, reaching that tailbone back. Maybe push into the big toes and the outer corners of the heels and just feel that different sensation through the legs. Good, one more breath here. And then slowly come on up out of that. We're going to turn the right toes out slightly. Line the torso up in the direction of that leg, and then begin to hinge with a straight back again over that straight leg. So you could have one hand on the chair to support you if you want, or both hands on the leg. And you maybe eventually come to a block or a floor. But again, it's not about how far down, it's about this length in the back and this gentle stretch that you come into, and then just breathe into that. You're getting all the benefits right there. And then slowly come on up, turn those toes forward. We're going to turn the other toes out, line the torso up in the direction of that leg, and then same thing. You're going to lead with that straight spine, hinging at the hip, and just find that stopping point where you begin to feel that stretch. Hand might be on the chair, maybe leg, maybe block or the floor. You're just going to let that gentle stretch be what guides you into this with those long exhales. And then we'll slowly press up out of that, and then turn those toes forward. Lean forward, put the weight of your body into your arms so that you can turn both toes out, and then begin to bend the knees. So as you bend the knees, you want to make sure they're over the heels. And then once we have that, lift up the right heel. Feel that strengthening and stretch to that inner leg. And then set that down, lift up the left heel. And same thing, set that down and see if you can lift up both. Even if it's just a little bit, just strengthening those inner legs. And then we'll set them down, straighten the legs, inhale the hands up to prayer hands, and then exhale and lower down, trying to keep those knees directly over the heels. And then we'll do that again. Inhale the hands up, straightening the legs, prayer hands. Exhale, prayer hands down over the heart, knees tracking over those heels as you bend. Good, we'll do this 3 more times. Inhaling up, exhale and lower. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, knees track over those heels as you lower. And then last one, inhale and exhale. And then you can release and have the hands onto the inner legs and just roll that right shoulder towards the center as you look over the left, keeping those knees tracking over the heels. And then slowly come back to center, same thing, left shoulder lowers as you look over the right, keeping those knees over the heels. And then back to center and lean forward, straighten out the legs, heel toe the feet in, bend the knees, and use the strength of the legs to come on up. Inhale the hands up to prayer hands, and then exhale them down over the heart. And then we're going to work some balance. So as you come into some of these balance postures, always know that you can rebuild them. You can hold on the whole time, but even if you fall out of it, every second's building. So they're so good. So we'll start by the toes are right next to the forward that are next to the chair. That's the foot that's going to be holding the weight. And just stand tall. Sometimes we have the tendency to literally lean that hip out. So you're going to draw that outer hip in, really stack that leg bone directly over the heel and feel the core help to engage with that. And then once you're there, you can lift the knee up. It doesn't matter how high you lift. And just feel all that nice core support here as you stand and breathe. Maybe one finger on the chair. Maybe take the hand away. And keep on breathing and just balancing. Eventually you might want to straighten that leg. Feel that quad and core really working. And then you could lower and bend the knee. And let the knees be as close together as you can. You could point the toes in the back and flex the foot. Maybe take some ankle circles. And then from here, we're going to work a warrior 3 pose, and that's where you can just tilt. You're going to think about hinging at that hip, and it doesn't matter. You could keep this leg in the back bent, or you could extend it straight. And you're just going to find your breath, find that exhale to hug the belly in and really support that back. You could flex the foot, reach out through the heel if you want to engage the leg more. Arms can do whatever they want. They can be reaching or holding onto the chair, maybe prayer hand over the heart. Good, and then slowly come on up. We're going to take it to tree pose. So again, those hips are hugging in, so you feel that nice hip and core support. As you draw the knee out to the side, just plant that foot, and as you plant that foot, make sure it's never on the knee joint. Just push the foot into the heel and the leg into the heel. They're both pressing into each other to really engage up through the inner legs and into the core. And then maybe one hand over the heart, maybe eventually both. And you're just pressing everything towards the center. Nice deep breaths here. And then we'll release, and we're going to set that foot on top of the other, still drawing the knee out to the side, face the palm forward, one finger on the chair. Take a nice deep breath in. And then on your exhale, just release, just start to maybe close the eyes and challenge it. If you want even more challenge, you could take the finger away from the chair and just follow each breath. Try and calm that mind. And I like to think on this one, be still and know that He is God. It's not easy, but we can practice. And even if we fall out of it, we can keep trying again. And set that down. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So again, walking over to the other side of the chair so that you have that to hold on to. The foot that's closest to the chair is where we're going to stand. Toes are forward. And then you're just going to think about, am I kind of kicked out to the side with my hip? If I am, I'm going to draw that hip in, engaging the core, keeping it stacking over the foot, and then lifting that knee. And then just find your breath here. Start to bring some awareness of how the core, how the legs are working for you here as you balance. Maybe even tucking the chin back if your head's a little bit forward to stack the skull directly over the spine. Taking your hand away from the chair if you ever need to. Find a little bit more practice there. And then you could extend the leg, trying not to lean back, using that core and leg strength. And then release, and we'll take those knees as close together as they can. And you can point, flex the foot in the back, or take some ankle circles in both directions. And then we'll tilt into that warrior 3. So as you tilt, the leg can be bent or you can straighten it. And just find, again, that awareness of the breath and really engaging the ribs and the belly in to support the back as you hinge here. And then think of reaching out long through the heel, through the top of the head. Lots of breath. Again, you can have your hands, whatever variation you want to work for today. Out, or prayer hand over the heart. And then slowly come on up out of that, and we'll take it right into tree. So drawing the knee out to the side, planting that foot, maybe big toe on the floor, a little lifted, just not on the knee joint. Pushing that foot into leg, leg into foot, feeling all that inner leg engagement all the way up to that pelvic floor and core. And then maybe one hand to the heart, maybe both. And just everything's pressing into the center, hand to hand, ribs hugging in. Good. And then release, and we're going to set that foot on top. One finger on the chair, other palms forward. Take a nice deep breath in. And then on your exhale, relax the shoulders down. And see if you can maybe close the eyes. And then maybe taking that finger away from the chair. And again, rebuild it if you need to. Follow each breath. And again, I like to think, be still and know that He is God. And then set that down. Great job on balance. Sometimes I just like to inhale the arms up, exhale them down, and just kind of release all that good work that we did. We're going to go ahead and take it to our seated postures. So as you come into the chair, if you want, you could take it into a chair pose, going slow motion in the chair. This is really going to work the quads and the core. You could reach the arms up. And again, if you can have the feet parallel, that's great for repatterning the feet. And then you can start to slowly sit back, making sure you can see the toes the whole time, because that way we know we have good knee placement when we can see those toes. And even when you start to feel the chair, see if you can just do it millimeter by millimeter by millimeter, just slowly lowering down, keeping all of that good core and leg support. Good, and then we'll settle into that chair, scooting to the edge so that we have about 60% of the weight in the seat of the chair and about 40% of the weight in the feet. And just again, trying to make sure that you have everything in a nice plane, all the same plane. So your outer edges of your feet, your outer edges of your knees and hips are all in that same plane, so we can repattern all those typical patterns that we have. And then we'll do a decompression. So your fingertips are going to come towards each other. Hands are near the creases of the legs. And then just press down into the thighs. Begin to take your chin and your chest, and as you press down, lift the top of the head. And then breathe deep. Just feeling all that good opening of the vertebrae. This is a great one to do if you've been sitting at a desk or driving for a long time. Just giving that opening in the places that are typically closed off. So one more breath here. And then release the spine down. And then we'll get into the neck a little bit. So you can take your palm out, whichever one you want to do first. And as you push the palm towards the floor, angle the fingers up. Tuck the chin back slightly. And then just begin to let that head tilt away from the arm as you push down and out. You'll probably feel this little nervy sensation, and that's good. It's the muscles kind of opening up around that median nerve. And just breathing, letting that circulation get into those areas again that are typically closed off. And then back to center, relax that arm down. Same thing, you're going to angle that palm towards the floor, angle the fingers up, tuck the chin back, and then just let that head tilt. And then just breathing into that little bit of a stretch down the neck and the arm. And then back to center. Great job. And then we'll do some twists. So as we do these twists, just make sure you keep all this evenness in the legs. Sometimes they're going to want to move on you, so we're going to be aware of that. So inhale the arms up, and then exhale, and as you twist, the hand can come to that outside of the knee or top of the knee. Arm can be on the back of the chair or above the chair. And just notice how that lower body remains stationary. It didn't move, and that's a good indication that your core is nice and engaging here. And then as you breathe in, stay lifted through the upper body, but yet try to relax the lower body. So that coordination of lifting and yet releasing that lower half. Good. And then we'll release and inhale the arms back up. And then exhale, same thing, keeping that lower body stationary so we have that good core support. Hand can be on the top or outside of that knee, other arm behind you on chair or lifted. And then just continue to lift through the upper body, yet relax that lower body. So working that coordination of engaging above and releasing below. Good, and then release, and we'll inhale the arms up, and we'll move a little more quickly. So on your exhale, we're going to twist. The hand that your leg is touching, see if you can try to lift that leg without leaning back. Feel that core and leg support, and then lower that down. Inhale the arms back up. Exhale, and we'll twist the other way. Same thing, lifting that leg. Keep trying not to lean back, and then lowering that down. Inhale the arms back, and we'll do that again. Exhale, twist, but this time lift the leg that you're not touching. Trying to keep all that good alignment. Set it down. Inhale the arms up, and then exhale, same thing. Lifting, trying not to lean back, and then setting that down. Inhaling the hands up to prayer hands, and then exhaling prayer hands down over the heart, and we'll get into the wrists. So you're going to let the hands just gently start to tilt, and as you do that, your wrists might want to pull apart, so try to keep them together. Just stop wherever they start to come apart. Try to relax the shoulders away from the ears, and then we're going to inhale and lower the hands, and then exhale and lift them up until you feel that gentle wrist stretch where they're still pressing together and the shoulders are still relaxed away from the ears. And then we'll move with that again with the breath. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift the wrist, shoulders draw down. And then again, inhale, lower. Exhale, lift the wrist, shoulders draw down. Good, last one, inhale. And on your exhale, just letting that wrist stretch and the shoulders away from the ears. Good, and then release and shake it out. So we're going to move the left foot out, or right, whichever one you want, and just wiggle that foot back and forth, massaging the heel. And then as you're here, that lower body's nice and relaxed. As you wiggle that foot back and forth, it's kind of sending the signals to relax in this hip socket. And then as that relaxes, remain lifted in the upper body. Hands are going to kind of rest onto the thighs. And that upper body's nice and engaged to support the long spine, and the hip is nice and released so that you can hinge at the hip, and then you'll find where you need that in the hamstring. So just hold and breathe into that gentle stretch through the hamstring. You might feel it in the hip and the low back as well, wherever you need it. If you're able to reach the toes, you could gently pull the toes back and feel that into the calf, but no need to ever be able to reach them. It's just if it's available. And then slowly come on up, and we're going to bend that knee. Same thing on the other side, just wiggling that foot, straightening that leg out, just massaging the heel, letting that relax all the way up into the hip socket. While that's relaxing, the upper body's nice and lifted, and then your hands can rest onto the thighs to help support you as you keep that long spine and that core engagement to keep the spine long. the hip released so you can hinge at the hip, and then just lots of breath when you begin to feel that stretch into the hamstring, maybe the low back, maybe the hip. If you are able to reach the toes, you can gently pull them towards you and feel that get into the calf a little bit more. But again, that's not a have to, just if it's available. And then we'll slowly come on up out of that and then take it to gate pose. So gate pose, we're going to scoot one sit bone off to the side of the chair and extend the leg out. The thing you want to watch for is that when you moved, you still have the same plane, hip, outer knee, and outer edge of the foot in the same plane. And then this outer edge of the foot on this other one, you want it to be nice and planted. We don't want to be caved in on the arch. It's not good for the arch or the knee. So nice and supported, all four corners on that foot as best as you can. Once you're there, you can reach that arm up and then just gently let the weight of the body slide down to wherever you begin to feel that nice stretch all the way through this side. The more you press that sit bone into the chair and reach the arm out, you'll feel that even more. If you're starting to see your shoulder in front of your face, you could just reach that arm back and let it come over in line with the ear so we can really get into that shoulder nicely. And then we'll inhale that arm up, exhale down. We're going to take this leg to the side of the chair. So you have a lot of variations here. You could just be lifting onto the ball of the foot and kind of strengthening right there. You might be able to come back and let the lunge stance start here where the toes are tucked under, or you might even want to rest onto the top of that foot. I'll just show you what that looks like. You might even want to turn the top of the foot over and just let that rest there for a top of the shin, top of the foot stretch. Or if you want to remain here, if you feel like that's good, you might even eventually be able to extend the leg back into a full lunge and feel a hip flexor stretch. So go for the one that you feel like you need for today, because every day is different. And some days the top of the shin and the top of the foot need it. Some days we need to curl the toes under and just feel that through the lunge stance, the deep lunge stance, through the hip flexor, through the legs strengthening. So just whichever one works. Take one more breath wherever you're at. And then on your exhale, go ahead and bring everything back to the center, both sit bones on the chair. And we're going to cross one leg over. So that leg that was extended, you can cross it over. And then your opposite arm is that top leg's going to come up, and the other arm's going to wrap right under wherever it wraps. So we could have here, arms wrapping here. We could have here, we could have here. There's lots of variations. And as you breathe, gently push the elbows away from you and draw the shoulders back. And just let all of that deep breath open up between the shoulder blades. Take one more breath here. And then release and inhale the arms up into prayer hands. Exhale them down over the heart. And then we'll undo that leg and do the same thing on the other side. So taking that nice gate pose, and as you scoot that sit bone off of the chair, make sure that your leg, all of that knee, foot, and hip are all on the same plane. And the four corners, that outer edge of that foot is nice and planted on that outer leg. And then as you're ready with all that good alignment, reach the arm up and then just begin to let that weight of the body gently fall until you feel that nice little side stretch. If you notice your arm came in front of your face, you can just reach that arm up and over, trying to keep it in line with the ear so we can really get into that opening through the shoulder. Good, and then we'll inhale that arm up. Exhale down, and same thing, you're going to take your variation. So you can have the foot tucked under for this nice lunge stance variation, or you could turn the top of the foot over. I'll just turn to the side so that you can see. It can be here tucked or turned over for a top of the foot, top of the shin stretch. So every day is different. For some reason on this side, this feels good. On this side, better than if I was working a lunge. So even one side of the body can need it more than the other. So just kind of pay attention and breathe and just let that release where you need it for today. So one more deep breath here, wherever you're at. And then on your exhale, we'll go ahead and bring that leg in, and we'll come back onto the chair. And that leg that was extended, we're going to cross it over this time. And as you have it nice and crossed, you're going to take that opposite arm as the top leg, and the other one's going to wrap. So again, if crossing the legs isn't comfortable, you can cross the ankles. I forgot to mention that on the first one. But just taking whatever variation, you're going to get all the benefits even here as we breathe into the shoulder blades. So if you want more, you can press the elbows away, draw the shoulders back. And just continue with those deep breaths. This is a great one for tension headaches due to shoulder and neck tension. So you can bring some relief there. Good. One more deep breath here. And then release the arms. Inhale them up. And then exhale them down. And then we're going to undo those legs and start to take it into a seated forward fold. So in a seated forward fold, you can have the legs wherever feels comfortable because they can be wider, they can be closer together. And when you start to come into this, if you want to work the triceps a little bit, you're going to hug the triceps into your torso as your hands are planted on the thighs. And then as you hug them in and that weight of the body's coming forward, you can really feel the backs of those triceps supporting you. So they're getting that nice, gentle work there as you lower down. And then you're going to get to a place where maybe you don't need to have that. You can just let the arms start to slide down the legs and let the head really relax here. And just let all of that seated forward fold open up the back and open up the hips. And every breath out, just letting that gravity really elongate the spine and the neck. Letting all that good blood flow to the brain here. Take one more deep breath in. And then slowly take those hands back up to the tops of the knees, planting them. Hug the elbows into the torso. Engage through those triceps to really use those muscles to lift your torso up. And feel that good work of the triceps. That's a neglected muscle, so it's a great one to help work that. And then we'll come back to sitting at the edge of the chair. And as you come into the edge of the chair, checking your alignment, outer edges of the feet, knees, and hips, we're going to take the arms into 90-degree angles, or cactus arms. And as you're sitting tall here, we're going to do a little engagement of squeezing the shoulder blades together. But when you squeeze them together, try not to let your ribs poke out. Keep the ribs hugging in. And then you can bring the arms together wherever they go. And we'll breathe with this. But when we breathe, we're not going to flail out the ribs. We're only going to fill up the belly. So inhaling, hugging the ribs in, filling up the belly as you squeeze the shoulder blades back. And then exhale, and then you can draw everything in. Belly, ribs. Good. And then inhale, ribs still hug in, but the belly's going to release and expand as you squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then exhale, everything hugs back in. Good. We're going to do this 2 more times. Inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades, hug the ribs in. And then exhale, everything towards the center. And then last one. Inhale, hug the ribs in, fill the belly, squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then exhale, bringing everything towards the center. Good, and then bring the elbows right out in front of the shoulders, right in line, and then we're going to wrap the fingers in, wrap the thumbs around the fingers, and gently take the wrists in towards each other. And feel that nice outside of the wrist stretch. And then we'll breathe with this. We're going to inhale, open the hands, and then exhale, round them in. And then we'll do that again. Inhale, open, and exhale, round. One more of those. Inhale, open, and exhale, round. And then press the fists down towards the floor, and then in towards each other, and then out and away. And then reach the fingers wide, reach the toes wide, and then see if you can squeeze the toes, squeeze the fingers, and then shake everything out. Great job. And then we'll take seated cat and cow. So you're going to take the hands on the tops of the knees, chin in the chest, around the spine towards the back of the chair. Maybe exhaling all that air out to press the belly and press the back a little bit more. And then on your next inhale, you can lift the chest and gaze wherever's comfortable. Maybe looking up as you arch the back if that's okay for your neck. And we'll do that one more time. Cat the back, chin in the chest, pressing onto the tops of those knees to give you a little resistance to round the back towards the back of the chair. And then inhale and lift the chest and arch wherever's comfortable as you look up or wherever's good for your neck. And then coming back to center. Great job. And then from here, we're going to do a nice breathing exercise. So you can take one hand over the heart, one over the belly if you want. And this is to help calm the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the heart and digestive organs that are hard to control. But these breathing and these counts that go with it help. So we're going to breathe into the upper chest, hold it for 4, and then to the low belly, hold it for 4, and then exhale everything out. So here we go. Into the upper chest for 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4. Into the belly. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4, and exhale all the air out. And into the upper chest. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4. Into the belly. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4, and exhale. If you had your hands on the heart and the belly, you can switch just to build some symmetry there. We'll do that again. Inhale to the upper chest. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4. Into the belly. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4, and exhale. And then last time, into the upper chest. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4. Into the belly. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4, and exhale. And then for our final resting, we'll just sit back into the chair, or if you want to just come down wherever you're at and lay onto the floor and really get relaxed, you can do that as well. So wherever you just choose to go, just begin to close the eyes and begin to just take your awareness to relaxing from the top of the head to the feet, beginning with between the brows, the little muscles around the forehead, and the little muscles around the eyes and the temples beginning to relax. Relaxing down into the muscles of the jaw and into the neck, traveling down the neck into the base of the neck and into the shoulders and the arms and hands and fingers. Breathing all the way down the spine, relaxing into the base of the spine and into the hips, into the thighs and the knees and the calves and the feet. And as you're nice and relaxed and breathing, just remember to take that time to be still, to step out of the busyness of the world so that you can reflect on what's truly important. And so again, back to that verse, be still and know that I am God. Sometimes I just like to say that verse in this fashion. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and be still. Be. It's not easy to take that time to be and to be still and to listen, but we can practice. Practice doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect, but it does mean that it can get better. So you can begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes, just waking the body up. And you can begin to open the eyes, beginning to wake the body up even more. If you're still in your chair, you can slowly lean forward to the edge of your chair to start to wake up the body. And I always like to end with reaching the arms up, thankful for another day, and coming into prayer hands and exhaling them down over the heart. And so thank you for practicing. I just pray that this practice can just bring some good restoration, rejuvenation into your body, and also remind you to be still and know that He is God, and He's got you, and He's taking care of so much. We'll just take the time to be reminded. So blessings.